My name's Phil King, and I get the honor of introducing our keynote address, although we've had, I think, about 15 keynotes tonight. Hang with us. I know it's hot, but we are almost there, and it is so important that you're here tonight. I get to introduce to you Governor Mike Huckabee. Now, I want to tell you, he told me not to say much, and I won't, but I want to tell you how I first got to know him. Back in 2008, when he was running for president, remember all the debates we had, and always sitting in the far corner at the side of the debate was always this former governor from Arkansas, not getting a lot of attention. But I would listen to him, as I know a lot of other Texans do, and we were going, wow, man, he's a sharp guy, he's articulate, he's caring, why isn't he getting more attention? And so I said, I'm going to call this campaign to see what I can do to help in Texas. So I got on the phone and I started calling around looking for, his senior campaign staff for the state. Well, didn't get there, so I started calling around a little bit more and asking around, looking for some senior staff with his national campaign. Left messages, talked to people. Finally, one day I get a call on my phone, and it's from Governor Huckabee himself. It was at that moment that I realized he was his senior campaign team. This was a grassroots operation if there ever was one. Right again, I heard somebody say there. But let me tell you, how things have changed. A little bit here out of his bio. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee is the host of the #1 rated weekend Huckabee on Fox News Channel. He is heard 3 times daily across the nation on the Huckabee Report, syndicated on almost 600 stations, and is heard on the Mike Huckabee Show for 3 hours on over 200 stations for 3 hours each weekday. He is the author of 10 books. In fact, I remember today when I was a young police officer, I read a book that he wrote on criminal justice for juveniles while he was the governor of Arkansas. It really wasn't very good, but that's okay. After his close run for president in 2008, he organized Huckabee, which today has amassed a team of thousands of volunteer activists and raised funds for campaigns all across our country. Most importantly, you know him to be a strong man of God, and I will tell you, he is also just a very, very nice man. With that, Governor Mike Huckabee.
Thank you very much, Bill. And thank all of you for your presence here tonight, for all these elected officials and the courageous members of the House and Senate who have been unfaltering in their support for human life. For Governor Perry, Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst, all of the people in leadership positions, for your excellent Attorney General Greg Abbott, and all of the great pro-life leaders. You have no idea how blessed you are in Texas to have such leadership that unequivocally stands for every life having value and worth. Now, you have been on your feet a long time, and I'm cognizant of that. I'm also aware of the fact it's going to get dark soon. If there's any wonder as to why I'm speaking now, it's because it was decided that I look a lot better after dark. I get it. I also would tell you that my wife and I have many times heard the song "Eyes of Texas Are Upon You" back when the Razorbacks were in the Southwest Conference. It wasn't always a beautiful song for us to hear because we heard it way, way too much coming out of this city. But tonight, it's not so much that the eyes of Texas are upon you, it's that the eyes of America are on Texas and the stand that you're taking for human life. Last Thursday was the 237th birthday of this great republic. 56 people signed their names to a document, and when they put their names on that document called the Declaration of Independence, they knew full well that they weren't just signing a piece of paper. They knew that at this incredible experiment in a new kind of government, in which the power rested with people and not with rulers, they knew that if this experiment in government did not work, it would not simply be that they would pay with higher taxes. They knew that they would pay with their own blood and the blood of their own children. So courageous were they, and so committed were they to the cause of freedom, that they purposefully affixed their names to the document. And in the early words of that document, I want to remind you that they made these historic affirmations. All men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights. And you have heard several speakers tonight at this program remind you of what those unalienable rights were, of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But I suggest that we remind ourselves that the preface of those rights is that we are all equal. That means that no person is better than another, which means no person is less than another. It means that no human being in our government was deemed to be so insignificant as to be disposable or expendable. The issue for America when it comes to human life is not about abortion. It's about the value and the intrinsic worth of every human being. It does not matter whether one is white or black or male or female or rich or poor or urban or rural. What matters is that all of us have been created equally. We have equality, not of looks, not of talents, not of abilities, but we have a quality of worth that was given to us not by a government that wrote it down, but by a God who gave us the life in the first place. And our founders recognized that life is not a government gift, life is a God gift. Government is simply committing to protect that which God gave. It is not that I am against tonight those who carry signs and wear orange shirts, because I value their lives too. Those lives are equal. No such thing as a life that is not worthy to be lived. No such thing as a life that is disposable. No such thing as a life that is so insignificant, so worthless, so unwanted, so unnecessary that any of us would choose and believe that we are so godlike that we would singularly have the right to extinguish that which God created. The rally tonight is not so much about whether we are for or against simply abortion. It's whether we are for or against the value of every other human being on this great planet, and whether or not we believe that every person is as good as us and that we are as good as anyone else. I don't know how you were raised, but my guess is chances are your parents raised you to believe that you weren't better than somebody. But more often than not, I'll guarantee you, you were raised to believe that nobody was any better than you. And that means that nobody has the right to diminish our significance and worth by deeming us to be disposable. And so tonight, I ask and pray that you lift up these legislators over the next days and weeks as they courageously take a stand, not against anything, but for something. That they take the stand for the value, the worth, the dignity, and the respect that is due every human being. not just in the state of Texas, but the United States of America and across the world. I know of no one, no matter who they are, who would advocate for a reenactment and a reinstitution of slavery. I know of no one. Maybe there is such a person. Thank God I haven't met them. Nobody today who has IQ above broccoli would ever advocate that we should return to the days when somebody believed that one person had the right to completely own another person. That's repulsive to all of us, isn't it? I would like to believe that that idea of one human being owning another human being is repulsive no matter what color shirt you wear here tonight. If we all can agree that no person can own another person, then how can we ever come to the conclusion that one person can take the life of another person and deem that person of less importance? I was asked many times if for me the issue of sanctity of life was a political issue. Let me assure you, I did not become pro-life because of politics. I got into politics because of my commitment to the idea that every human life has value and purpose and meaning. My wife and I, just a few months ago, stood in the room at Auschwitz, a few miles from Krakow, Poland. The room that was the death chamber, in which 1.1 million people were murdered by the Nazis. I stood in that room, and it was the most sobering experience I think I have had. And I could only envision, even as those crematoriums were left intact because the Nazis were unable to dismantle them in time when the Allies overcame Auschwitz. Thank God it's still there as a reminder to us, as a vivid and yet ugly reminder that somewhere some people believed that they were better than others. And they drew lines around people that they didn't believe had as much of a right to live as they did. And they rounded them up, and they systematically snuffed out their lives. And as I stood in that chamber and thought that 1.1 million fellow human beings had been murdered in that very room where I stood, and I asked myself, how? How could such a thing happen? My friend, the only way it can happen is when we devalue the lives of those who are being murdered. When we believe that they are not as valuable as those who are doing the killing. I recommitted myself then and there, and again here tonight. I will not rest. I will not allow my voice to be silent, so long as there are people on this earth who believe themselves to be better than others, worth more than others, who elevate their importance above that of others. And if we ever elevate someone's importance above the weakest and the most vulnerable, I believe we answer to a holy God who said, better that the millstone be hanged about your neck and drowned in the depth of the sea than you would offend one of these little ones. God has always cared for the most vulnerable, for the weak, for those who had no other voice. We are the voice of the weak and the vulnerable. We are the voice of those who have value and worth and those who have been marginalized. Let us stand for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and may God bless you and the great state of Texas and these courageous leaders who lead you to value every human life. Thank you very, very much.